You know what's funny as well? What? Before I met Santander, I met his brother in jail. I never knew and his brother didn't tell.
One of the most successful rappers out of the UK is Dave, and he has a brother that has an interesting story that was sentenced to a long stretch in jail. His story hasn't really been covered in detail, so we're going to get into it today.
Never had a breakdown, driving to Cockham Wood and a whip and it breaks down, and you're stressing the visit cause your brother's running late now. You ain't never felt numb and seen your older brother's face in a paper and you're looking at your mum and she's lifeless. I had to phone just real shit on my mum's. All the phone calls I made for the funds, I was never on my ones. I had to read this from the jump.
Christopher is the name of Dave's brother, born in 1994, was a 16-year-old boy at the time of this incident in 2010 from South London. He was part of a group from a school in Streatham that had ongoing tensions with a rival group from a school in West London. These tensions were fueled on social media, and it set the stage for this fatal incident. Sofin, a 15-year-old boy from Acton, was killed at Victoria Tube Station during rush hour. The attack involved up to 20 teenagers armed with knives, a samurai sword and other weapons. Sofin was chased into the ticket hall and stabbed 9 times, including fatal wounds to his lungs and chest, and was beaten in a 12-second assault witnessed by commuters.
It was as Sofian tried to make his escape here at Victoria Station that he stumbled and the group caught up with him. Then, in front of hundreds of commuters, they launched a frenzied attack. In just 12 seconds, he was stabbed 10 times and suffered 20 separate injuries.
This case stood out to the public so much because it was in broad daylight with numerous people around. It wasn't a late night ride out of a gang rivalry, it was a situation of school kids in public, and it was graphic.
One of the attackers had a kind of a long implement in their hand, and they made a kind of a stabbing motion on the boy who was being attacked, and he was trying to get himself up off the floor.
The day before the attack, the police broke up a fight between the teenagers from rival schools. But using Facebook and Instant Messenger, they quickly organised another confrontation. The girl seen here is Victoria Osateku. On the day of the attack, she headed to a shop close to her college and filled her pink bag with kitchen knives later used to kill Sofian. These are the teenagers on a bus before and after the attack. Dozens were to be arrested.
Christopher was identified as a key participant. One of the murder weapons, a knife, was found in his bag after the police intercepted a bus the group fled on. This evidence significantly influenced his sentencing. Police had launched a major investigation, actually arresting 20 suspects. Over the following week, CCTV footage and witness statements, Christopher and others as central figures. The case treated as a joint enterprise, meaning all participants were held liable for the murder, regardless of who struck the fatal blow.
And you can see the weapons hanging out of I think it's his pocket. Wow. To most people looking at this would seem like you are looking at a group of, young gang members or a gang. But far from it. Most of the 20 teenagers charged with Sofian's murder were ordinary school kids who attended St. Charles Sixth Form College in Ladbroke Grove, 4 miles away from Sofian's school.
April 2012, Christopher, now 18, was convicted of murder and conspiracy to cause grievous body harm. 8 others were also convicted of various charges related to Sofian's death, including murder and manslaughter.
Its verdict, after a long trial, and certainly one which is as serious as this one had been, it's a moment of great tension.
2 years after Sofian's death, Christopher Omoreji and Obi Nwake were convicted of murder, having been captured on CCTV, attacking Sofian and arrested with bloodied weapons.
Do you think they meant to kill? Do you think they...
That was their intention. If you have weapons, that's what your intention is. So if you're holding that knife, you're making that choice where you're going to stab someone.
This was a brutal incident. Even a woman was seen on CCTV kicking the boy in the head after he was fatally stabbed at the tube station, and a witness said that she had been gloating about what happened the following day at her sixth form college. The judge even said you was seen delivering the final blow to Sofian as you was the last of the group to run away. Sofian's mother actually reacted angry to the sentence, saying she's disgusted she got 12 years and she'll only serve half. She's an adult and she should have got life. She planned the whole thing.
Victoria Osateku was the only girl involved in this attack. She was also the oldest defendant. She was said to be one of the main instigators the day before that clash at Victoria Station. She went to Argos and bought a set of knives which she handed out to different members of the group. Now, as we know, Sofiane Belhamoudane was chased by a large number of youths through Victoria Station. He ran down the stairs literally for his life, but he fell over in the ticket area where the group caught up with him. He was stabbed 9 times in 12 seconds, and Oshiateku is said to have kicked him in the head as he lay dying on the floor. Well, today the judge sentenced her to 12 years detention, a sentence which Sofiane's mother and aunt both felt was far too short.
The victim's family also spoke to the press as well, talking about how they was devastated and their life's been ruined.
At the end of the day, I have already been sentenced to life, and so have my family, and so have my children, and nothing is going to change that.
We have a life sentence. We're the real victims here. My sister who's lost her son, me, our lives has been shattered.
The judge described this attack as both ferocious and merciless. He told Oshiateku she needed to share her responsibility in the killing because she'd gone and bought those knives. After the sentencing, she stood up and walked down to the cells without looking back.
Well, a lot of times we see a woman's involvement in the setting up of the situation, and it actually says on here that she's one of the teenagers responsible for setting up the whole fight. The A-level student sent messages by phone on Facebook arranging the clash between pupils from rival schools. As for Dave's brother, he was given a minimum term of 18 years in jail, and at the time Dave was just 13 years old. On the song Hangman, he referenced his brother's sentence, saying, "My bro ain't got a bird, he got an ostrich." Over the years, Dave has paid tribute to his brother numerous times, who was serving a long stretch. Actually, Psychodrama was released. Dave dropped his debut album Psychodrama, which won critical acclaim. The album's content was inspired by Christopher's prison therapy program, Psychodrama, a group therapy method. The track Drama featured Christopher's voice from a prison phone call, reading a Bible. But we do get into some controversy around Dave supporting his brother publicly. So September 19, 2019, Dave won the Mercury Prize, and in his acceptance speech he thanked Christopher, saying, "This is your story that we told. I know you're watching this, bro." And in the Daily Mail straight after, and Sky News reported that Sofiane's mother was in outrage, calling it disgusting that a murderous voice was celebrated. She criticised the album's audience as people under the influence and questioned the morality of the award. This shifted media focus from Dave's artistry to the ethics featuring Christopher on that album because of what happened in the 2010 case. Fast forward to 2020, we got an update on how Dave's brother's doing in prison. Christopher said a prison report described Christopher as a bright man with an excellent disciplinary record. He began studying physiology and psychology via Open University and expressed very high remorse and even drafted a letter to Sofiane's family. He actually got a year knocked off his sentence in 2022 under the Criminal Justice Act of 2003, which allows tariff reductions for exceptional progress. Evidence included his therapy success and his achievements and his remorse. The judge reduced the minimum term by 1 year from 18 to 17, meaning he could apply for parole in March 2027 instead of 2028. This doesn't seem like a lot compared to his whole sentence, but anything you can get off when you got a sentence this long is worth it. I'm sure Dave, being a multi-millionaire, was willing to pay any amount for lawyers to get that reduction, and if he could give any amount of money, he would do it to get his brother out. But no matter how much money Wiley pays, it seems he can never come back to social media. We broke down in detail what happened to him, another one of the most successful rappers in the UK that was cancelled.